Welcome to the fourth video in our AuthorTube interview collection. Let's meet the AuthorTubers.
Hi everyone, I am Trynda Adair and I'll be answering some questions about publishing and my writing style for Tania today. A little bit about me is I write post-apocalyptic, apocalyptic, paranormal, science fiction, and historical fiction all kind of wrapped up in one a lot of the time. So I kind of like to bounce around, but I write all within one universe, and wherever in space and time you end up being is where that story is. So that's a little bit about my writing, and I will let Tania move on to the questions.
Hi there, my name is Tania Stephenson and I'm an independent author from Canada, and this is my writing realm. What genre do you enjoy writing the most?
I usually enjoy writing post-apocalyptic and apocalyptic fiction, sometimes historical fiction. Those are kind of the genres I stick to for the most part. But largely I just kind of write what I feel like writing.
I enjoy writing high fantasy the most, but I also enjoy a little bit of a romantic subplot. How long have you been writing for?
I have been writing, I feel like at this point, my whole life. More professionally oriented or mindseted. I started taking my writing more professionally, more seriously when I was probably around 15 or 16. I used to write a lot of short stories for the Lake Winnipeg Writers Group, and that's sort of how I started to take it a bit more seriously and get more into it.
I've been writing for approximately 13 years, but when I was younger, I wrote music, actually. Have you ever taken a creative writing or a literary course?
I myself have never taken a literary course itself. I used to go to the Black Ink Recon Writers Retreat that was kind of hosted by Tyra Masters Heinrichs and a few other people, I think. It hasn't happened in a few years now, but it was definitely, I really enjoyed it when I did go to it. So that was kind of the only thing I've really done that I can think of. I've done a few contests where you get kind of feedback for creative writing, but for the most part, just Black Ink Recon. Nothing really super heavy academically oriented or anything like that.
I haven't actually taken any courses. However, I have been a member of a writing group for pretty much 13 years. Do you listen to music while you write?
I do listen to music when I write a lot of the time. Generally, it's kind of video game soundtracks or whatever kind of feels like it fits the scene, if that makes sense. I'm not really too picky in that regard. Usually it's not country, usually it's more kind of like video game soundtracks and less stuff with lyrics, but still some stuff with lyrics sometimes. It all kind of depends on what I'm writing and the characters involved and kind of the tone of the scene that I'm looking for.
I never used to listen to music while I was writing, but then when I started this AuthorTube interview collection and I realized how many other writers enjoy listening to music while they write, I figured I'd give it a try. So in 2022 NaNo, I started listening to high fantasy soundtracks, and I found I was really a lot more productive while listening to music. Do you schedule your writing time?
I do not actually schedule my writing time. I probably should, but I just find my schedule is way too hectic to actually be trying to fit any sort of schedule in. But yeah, I definitely recommend it if it works for you, but for me it really hasn't manifested, so I don't worry about it too much.
Nope, I never schedule my writing time. I've tried and failed many times. My life is just too busy and hectic as a hockey mom. We have 2 boys, I'm married, I have a full-time job. It's near impossible to schedule writing time, but I do try my best to make time to write. Although, honestly, lately, and since NaNo, I haven't really done that as often as I'd like. Have you ever joined NaNo WriMo, or do you plan to in the future?
I have joined NaNo WriMo quite a few times. I've actually won it 3 times, I want to say. I have not published said novels yet, but I do have them. Twice for sure, I think 3 times potentially. Because I wrote a collection of short stories at one point. I'll probably do so in the future, but I do want to work on kind of the stories I've got written through NaNo WriMo before I start introducing more more into that equation. So in the future I will probably participate in it, but for now I just have too much going on to even consider doing NaNo this year, but highly recommend it for those who are.
Yes, actually, I really enjoy doing NaNo. I have done approximately 8 different NaNos. I think it's given me the opportunity to really practice and hone out my writing craft. I don't enjoy rush writing, so I haven't really kept a lot that I've written from NaNo, but until, of course, 2022, when I listened to music while I wrote, I'm actually a lot more happy with the quality of my writing, even though it was still rushed. Has another author inspired your writing style in any way?
I don't know if I could say any one individual author has contributed to my writing style. I think it's kind of just been something that's developed over time with my kind of relationship with English and kind of learning to kind of grasp it a bit better. And I think that's really where a lot of it comes from, is more from readers, just feedback from people who like my writing. And that's largely what's influenced my writing style, and just kind of stuff that I want to read myself that isn't so much available. Yeah, I think it's just kind of a culmination of all those things, and myself reading a lot of different authors. A lot of historical fiction and history, I think, has kind of influenced my writing a lot more in general, but I don't know about the style itself. That, I think, has just come from me grappling with how English kind of forms in my head.
In terms of world building, I would have to say Tolkien has had the biggest impact on me creatively. In terms of writing style, Karen Marie Moaning actually writes in first person, and she does it very well. So I've learned a lot, and I've found that I really enjoy writing in first person more than from any other perspective. But when it comes to my high fantasy novel, I am not writing in first person, so I'm now finding it challenging. How long have you been a part of the AuthorTube community?
I have been part of the AuthorTube community for quite some time now, almost since it kind of started, I want to say. I'm not very active in the community these days because I've just got no time. But I'm hoping to get more active and potentially bring some kind of Gaelic viewpoints and Gaelic writing to the author community, the AuthorTube community, because I think it's something that can definitely benefit from more people writing in Gaelic and kind of engaging in writing content via Gaelic and that kind of stuff. So I probably will be more involved in the future, hopefully, fingers crossed, but we'll see.
I've been a part of the AuthorTube community for approximately 2 years. I really started in about, I want to say March or April of 2020, pretty much around the same time that I started self-publishing my work. Has joining the AuthorTube community helped you in some way?
I would say that joining the AuthorTube community did help me a lot when I first joined, because I was kind of stagnant. Now I've kind of gone to the other end of the spectrum where it's more time than energy to do things or drive to do things. So in that regard, it definitely has been very inspiring and kind of motivating to get me to do things. And self-publishing, it definitely has helped me to just not worry about traditional publishing and just move forward with stories that I know people will enjoy, that I can bring to the table. Whether or not a traditional publisher necessarily recognizes that it's a good story, or if it might be touching on subjects that they're not comfortable with, I still feel like those are valid stories that should probably be out there, even if they're not approved by, the powers that be in terms of publishing. So I think in terms of that, the AuthorTube community is very helpful in seeing what other people are doing and getting some motivation for people to actually kind of push forward if maybe traditional publishing's not their path, there's nothing wrong with that. Or hybrid publishing even. I think there's a lot of people who've come to learn about hybrid publishing through the AuthorTube community as well.
Yes, joining this community has really helped me gain confidence as a writer and an independent author. I know I haven't gotten very far in life with this, but I feel like with that extra support from other AuthorTubers, like it's possible to actually get somewhere in this world. If you could meet any AuthorTuber in person, who would it be and why?
I want to answer Tania, but I know Tania in person, so I can't really answer. That's cheating. If I had to pick another person, it would probably be Alina Popescu. I'm a little bit out of touch with the AuthorTube community these days, but I want to say she's still making videos and she's still publishing. She is an AuthorTuber and an author who lives in Bucharest. And I would really like to visit there and see her and meet her wonderful dogs. And it would be fantastic to actually meet up with her. We've been friends online through AuthorTube for a long ass time because of a collab we did ages ago. So I would really like to meet Alina one day. Fingers crossed.
I would really like to meet Mandy Lynn. I know it may not ever happen, but I really admire her talent and her business sense when it comes to the entire business of being an author, a cover designer, and everything else that goes with it. I also like her personality. She's very down to earth and very honest, and she's not afraid to share different aspects about who she is as a writer and as a person.